No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! What is up, smooth babies? Welcome to Bitter Marks. It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every single Friday morning at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcasts from. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for checking us out. Feel free to email us any questions you may have. bittermarks@gmail.com is the way to get a hold of us. Ask us any questions you may have, whether they are pro wrestling related, maybe something obscure you want to talk about, or maybe you just want to know who we are and why we're doing this 113 weeks in a row with no days off. Because we work hard like Christian in AEW. 4-0, I believe, is his record. But anyway, I'm your host of this show. My name is Sasha. And I'm joined by my dear friend, Indy Ref Extraordinaire. It's Peewee.
That's right. Remove the word former from independent wrestling referee. What's going on, man? As we went live here, I realized that I forgot to put up the things I've been doing the past few weeks, these shields for Tony and I.
Oh, okay.
I had them ready to go. I just didn't activate them. This is the problem with me running the show here. Here, Tony, get out of there.
It's okay. I like it. Things are going well. If you listen back to last week's show, I had already known that you were coming back, but I didn't want to give it away to the people.
As a referee. Yes, right.
And so I actually announced you last week as Indie Ref Extraordinaire, not former. But that's a little
spoilers.
nugget that literally only I would notice. So
I didn't notice, correct.
And we are joined this week by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. It's Peewees Tony.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? I heard you guys broke YouTube last week.
How about
Live
that?
on the air, Bitter Marks takes down YouTube.
And then they take us down immediately.
Yes, yeah. Well, that happens every week, I think. But I was actually caught up with something else, doing some work, and I tried to catch the show live on YouTube, Tuesdays live at 9:05, as the kids say, and I couldn't watch. It wouldn't load.
Things are shocking that the week that our tech guy takes a week off, that we have huge technical issues. And yes, it wasn't us, but the coincidence was a little more than a coincidence.
We're also joined today by the smooth babies in the YouTube live stream chat. I already see a ridiculous question that I'm going to make Peewee read coming up. If you want to be part of our show while we record it, subscribe to the Bitter Marks Podcast YouTube page. Get those live notifications going. We record every Tuesday night, like Tony said, live at 9:05. That's p.m. and that's Central Standard Time. Join us. Let's have some fun. Ask us ridiculous questions. Make fun of us. But just join us. You can be part of the show while it's actually going on instead of a little bit later. So it's a good way to do that. Peewee, we got a question already. You want to read this?
I'll read half of it.
All right, Tony will take the second half.
Ebeat says, asking, will you discuss the irony of John Cena apologizing to the Chinese government in perfect Mandarin for criticizing their treatment of, I'm going to leave that word out, in the northwestern region of, there, Tony, finish off that. What is the name of that country or state or province?
Yinjiang, I think. I'm going to go with that.
I don't know. I'd heard about the apology. I did not know it was done in Mandarin. But thinking back on it, I did know randomly that Cena did study Mandarin just so he could be a better public speaker in all aspects. So that makes perfect sense. I actually want to go back and hear that now that Evitz has brought up that he speaks in the foreign language.
Friend of the podcast, please. John Cena.
John Cena, not Ibiza, but John Cena.
Yeah,
right.
Forget him. But yeah, John Cena. I didn't catch this story, so I don't know what's going on.
No clue.
The story I got is that he referred to, I don't remember what it was, but he referred to a region in China as a separate country when it's not its own country.
Like Hong
And so he
Kong
was-
or
It wasn't Hong Kong, but it was something like that.
Oh.
And he was just apologizing for generalizing the area of Asia that he referred to as a country when it wasn't. To my understanding, I could be totally wrong.
All right. Well, I will Google
Riveting.
John Cena
Riveting.
Mandarin, I guess.
Dude,
Hot stuff.
do we get listens in China? Are we hot there? I know we're hot in other communist countries. I just don't know if China is one of them.
We're solid in Russia. We're great
Sweet.
in Australia, which I don't know if they're communist or not.
They are now. You just made them.
We got some listens in Italy because our dear friend Giuseppe is trapped in the I don't know, peninsula of Milan. I don't know what goes on over there. We got Ireland, Germany, Belgium. We're all over the place. Ghana. Last week, Tony, you missed it. We are live in Ghana.
Sweet.
Huge. Hattori Hanzo in the chat is saying that the area that Cena misrepresented was Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
okay.
That makes sense.
And
Which
now
is a country.
It
Okay.
is a fact.
Yeah, fantastic. So I don't know what he apologized for. Look it up.
Anyway, our musical guest this week, Billy Ocean, had to cancel. But we do have the next best thing. Special guest joining us for a live game of Dead or Alive. This is going to be the first time that we're playing Dead or Alive on a live stream where a fourth picture will have to be added. We might get kicked off. I don't know what's going to happen. Peewee, I'm sure you have it all set up, right?
That's a lot of faith that you put in me. If my computer doesn't light on fire by the end of this episode, I'll be shocked. We'll see what happens. I don't know when we're going to this I was going to say fourth guest, but just this extra guy. When it happens, we'll see what happens.
Fourth horseman, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
I will let you know that last week's episode, titled I'm Back, as the return of Peewee to roughing, was our highest rated episode since episode 100. How about that?
Wow. There you go.
And
You guys
there you
don't
go.
need me. Clearly, like obviously, the people have spoken.
This is interesting because ever since episode 100, we've started posting the videos on YouTube, and then obviously we started doing this live stream a
That's
month
exactly
ago.
what it is. Yes, that's exactly what caused it.
And so it's like it's cut our listens in half because half the people are watching the YouTube.
That's my point. And they couldn't watch on YouTube last week, so they had to download it.
Ah,
Great call.
Smart.
That being said, still the highest rated since episode 100. So even before we were doing live stream stuff, we had episodes. This was higher rated
Okay,
than
yeah.
that.
So this is better than all you can judge it on is it's rated better than episode 101 through the episode before we started going live.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. That's great. That's fantastic.
So
I'm glad to tank the ratings this week, but all the bitter marks will be happy. Next week I'm out on assignment, so.
Oh, that's going to be a big episode too, because I'm going to have a whole rundown on what happens over this next coming weekend with my first referee booking.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear that.
I'm
we're
going to
gonna
do
miss
something
you.
here. I'm going to tease a little bit more for the audio this week. So if you are watching live on YouTube stream, we're starting a new segment this week. Peewee and Tony do not have any clue what this segment is. I think you guys are going to like it, but it's already recorded. It is good to go, and it will only be available on our audio stream. So if you're watching on
Great.
YouTube, I'm sorry, but I don't know. We don't have that technical capability to put it on here. So
That's a fact. Now me and Tony
Bittermarks.com.
are going to have
Go
to
listen to
download
that
it,
audio
too.
version. Bittermarks.com.
So Peewee, you're talking about it. This Sunday is your debut, your first show back in what, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is.
9 years,
How's
yeah.
your conditioning? How's your training? Where's your head? What's going on?
Conditioning's going well as far as attempting to be conditioned. Mike, I don't do any cardio. I've never done cardio, so I'm going to be a wreck as soon as I get into the ring. But I've been, like I said last week, I've been going to the gym daily. I've been getting back into my old routine. One of my problems that I always have, I had this problem back in the day. Well, it's kind of a different problem, but still associated. When I was originally working out back in like 2000s and the early 2010s, I would work out weekly or daily, but my diet was terrible. I would eat a lot, but I would go to McDonald's, I'd go to Wendy's, I would just eat anything I could, and it would be junk. Now, cut to now, and now I'm working out every day, but my diet, I'm not eating junk because Steph is still doing her DDPY journey and she's all organic, and I don't even know the other words that she is, but it's extremely healthy in our house. And but the problem is the amount of food that I'm taking in isn't enough. So I'm not eating enough to be able to turn that food into the size that I'm looking to get, which isn't much, but
So
still
I
something.
remember your diet back then consisting only of Jimmy John's day-old bread.
Oh, 50 cents a loaf.
Yeah, you
50
used to
cents
just
a loaf.
like, I went to your place one time. You had like 6 loaves there. I'm like, what the fuck you doing with all this bread, dude? He's like, it's 50 cents a loaf.
I still feel that way. If there was a Jimmy John's closer to us, I would still be eating the same stuff. I don't think that stuff's terrible for you.
Bread?
Yeah, I know that carbs aren't great, but I just need size. I'm just talking about like grease and fats.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
yeah, I would absolutely eat Jimmy John's day old bread. Yeah, absolutely.
So are you nervous at all?
I'm not about. I was gonna say not about the stuff in the ring, but a revelation was brought to my attention a couple days ago. Jeff Luxon, who's a guy. He was the tag team partner of Ryan Cross in the Pingree Grove story at the school show.
I think he started following our Instagram or Twitter this week or something.
Oh, okay, that makes sense because I reached out to him. He posted on Facebook a flyer for the show that I'm going to be doing, and that may have actually been how I heard about it. And he keeps reposting this flyer on Facebook. And the more I looked at it, the more I was like, oh, that's odd. The wording of it is it says something along the words like Rockabilly Carnival, or not convention, but like extravaganza or something. And then it said that there's 2 shows. Oh, and the big thing that this is what really tipped me off. It said front row is $10, general admission is free. Well, how are you going to do that? This has to be a fair show. This show is outside. I am terrified, especially with the heat that we've been experiencing the past week or so. I am terrified of being in the ring in the outdoors in this 80-degree heat for 2 shows. Did I tell you it's a double shot?
Yeah, you
There's
did.
A show
Wow.
This is a lot for the first time out.
You're gonna do fine. I'm sad that I'm not gonna go. I looked up where it is, and it's almost near Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and I was like, no.
Boy. Yeah.
I've already been to Fond du Lac multiple times. I don't need to go anywhere near there. And Wisconsin, I'm sorry, I'm not traveling in there. Of course, it's a fair show in the middle of Wisconsin. I don't think they have anything else.
They don't have roofs in Wisconsin.
So physically, you're feeling good, right? You're feeling good. But what about like mentally? What about, is like the ring jargon changed at all since you've been working? Like,
and that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the bell to bell. I'm going to be fine. The wrestling, for the most part, other than everything I've ever talked about since we started this podcast, has not changed since 2012. What I have to imagine has changed, and stories that I have heard, is the backstage stuff. From when we broke in, Sash, to 2012, it was unheard of to go into a locker room, sit down, and just start changing. The first thing we had to do, every show we went to, whether it was a weekly show and we worked the same show with the same guys the week before, or if we haven't seen these guys in a month, or no matter what it is, no matter how often we would see these guys, every show you have to walk up to every person, shake their hand, and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey," or introduce yourself. Every show you got to shake hands with everybody. "Hey, man, what's up?" Name me one other profession that this happens anywhere. When you have an office job, Tony, you work in an office for the most part. When you go in every day, do you walk around and shake every person's hand and say, "Hey, how you doing"?
No,
unheard of.
I don't give them the "Hey, how you doing." I do not do that. No.
So I have heard that's the way it was forever, and from what I've heard, that kind of stuff has changed. I think COVID has helped that a lot, in that people aren't shaking hands. But even just the I don't want to say that the atmosphere in the old school or our old locker rooms was like a bullying atmosphere, but there was a lot more walking on eggshells than not.
Don't piss off the old guys, right? Kind of.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of that. You didn't ask for autographs. You didn't ask for pictures for anybody. It was just everybody was on the same plane, but you also made sure to mind your P's and Q's, and you were walking on eggshells. Now, from what I've heard, it's a lot more laid back. There's family in the locker room. There's wives. There's kids running around the locker rooms. Everybody's taking pictures. Imagine Sasha taking pictures backstage at a Randy show.
Well, but here's the thing.
I know it's easier.
It's easier.
Right, I get that. I know that it's easier. And that probably had a lot to do with it, but I also think it's the mindset. If we had video cameras, you were recording everything on video camera back in the day, would you have ever considered bringing a video camera backstage to a Randy show?
No, definitely not. In fact, I was nervous to bring it to record just in general.
To sit in the stands. Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked that we have footage from camp for that same reason.
Yeah.
Exposing the business then is completely different than exposing the business now. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't know.
Well, you should start smoking, like, heavily. And just get in there and just smoke in the corner and don't say anything. Just sit there with your bag next to you and wait for instruction. That's what I think that wrestling should be.
I'm excited. I was talking to Jeff Lux in a bit, and obviously I told him that I'm working the show, that I got booked, and he was ecstatic about it. And I can't wait to see Ryan Cross, his tag team partner. I haven't seen him probably since that school show. I also learned that Ryan's kid is working the show. He has an 18-year-old kid who's working, which shocked me.
Wow.
And I'm excited to meet that guy. It's going to be, Luxon was telling me, like, when he and Brian do shows now, it's just him and Ryan sitting in the corner talking about how they're the old guys and how they can't get over how all these kids are walking around, treating it like it's their home, and nobody's walking on eggshells anymore, and everybody's just much more relaxed, which sounds much, much better than the way it used to be. It's just, to me, that's not a wrestling locker room. Like, that's not what I grew up on. Yeah. So getting used to that is going to be... It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to talk to me next week.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk next week. I want to see how it goes for you. I wish I was going. Like I said, I'd love to get it documented.
It's going to be a long day, man. It's a 3-hour drive. It's a double shot. Yeah. It's outdoors. It's a 3-hour drive back.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't want to come
lots of fluids, Peewee. You gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, I'll pack a bag.
Well, you were trying to get clearly some Twitter buzz around it. Well, not about that, but I guess about your Macho Man hat.
Oh, yes, you saw this.
The biggest thing that happened this week to us as a podcast. You tweeted at Conrad Thompson, who's the host of every wrestling podcast there is, including the new Jeff Jarrett one, which is great. New episode came out today. But you tweeted with a picture of your son Connor in your guys' driveway, which is a great picture, by the way. And he's like with the hose cleaning the hat. And we are currently at over 200 likes and like 10 retweets.
I think it's the best reaction I've ever gotten to, like, as in like-wise, and I don't even know what the terminology is, but as far as the reception to a tweet, I think it's the best one I've ever gotten.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great stuff.
I did have a lot of that was orchestrated on my part. It wasn't a whole lot of chance. It was Conrad, if you don't know, is a big belt collector. He's just a big wrestling collector. He's married, I believe, to Charlotte now, Charlotte, the sister. He's married to the sister.
Megan, by the way, Megan.
Is that her name?
I think so. Yeah, and I think that's how it's pronounced as well.
Wow.
So he's big into wrestling, big time collector. Has like original belts, Tony. Like, he's not a replica belt collector. He has like original belts, like TV belts. So I knew I wasn't trying to get him interested in the belt, but I'm just trying to get some publicity for the hat and mainly our Twitter feed. So I said, "Hey, Conrad, I think I said something like, 'You're cool, but are you washing a Macho Man monster truck hat in your driveway cool?'" And then made sure to tag him, and then he retweeted it almost instantly, and he has a huge following. Nice. And then it was off to the races from there.
My phone is still smoking, by the way.
Sasha is dumb enough to have notifications for any Twitter like on his phone for the Bitter Marks account. So I didn't realize that and apologize for it afterwards. But it did exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted to gain interest in our Twitter feed and get more followers. And it didn't get a lot for the amount of likes that it got. I think we got maybe 2 or 3. But that's still more than we would have got yesterday or the day before, whenever the tweet went out.
Followers.
I was happy with the... Yeah, exactly. I was happy with the performance that we got out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you should do that on a daily basis.
I need to come over there and check out the hat. I need to see the hat.
Yeah, I need to see the hat too.
Insane.
I want to touch the hat. I want to maybe
It's sparkling now.
Oh, yeah.
I want to set it up
gorgeous.
where we can get pictures of us like wearing the hat. Like obviously we're not going to put it on, but like standing in front of a ladder at a certain distance.
We need a crane. Does anybody have a crane that we could put the hat up and then we could walk underneath it?
We're a little over 3 weeks away from the first ever Billy Joe Travis Memorial Crockett Cup Tag Team Invitational Golf Championship presented by Ball Scraped from the glorious Apple Orchard Golf Resort in sunny suburban Chicago, Illinois.
Resort.
Can't believe this is a thing.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. You have no idea. So excited. I've been busy.
Ooh.
Now, I heard you talk last week about there might be some sort of prizes, maybe even a door prize or something like that. But I went ahead and I made my own prize. So
Okay.
you guys know I've been 3D printing like crazy for the past like year and a half, and I currently had nothing to do, so I was like, you know what? The BJTMCCTTGIC needs a trophy, right?
Oh.
So I present to you the inaugural BCTM BJTMCCTTGIC Championship Trophy. I was able to get this printed
Look at this.
in
That's
a
printed?
gold silk
Wow.
filament. And I don't know if you can read the text, but the entire text is on there of the
Oh man.
so
Wow. Is the text? I don't want to get technical here, but is the text stickers or is
yeah,
that
it's
printed
vinyl.
as well?
It's just vinyl.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that looks very clean, but that golf ball looks unbelievable.
Yeah,
So-
that's incredible.
The winner goes the
Oh,
spoils, and this is the inaugural trophy for the.
I know I've said previously that I have a bad back and will not be participating in this thing.
But you want this?
I've come out of retirement once this month for something else. I'll let you know. That is pretty.
I know probably can't tell, but it's got a nice luster because it's printed in a silk plastic, so if the light bounces off it, it's almost golden, guys. It's amazing.
That is fantastic.
And I will-
How many entrants do we have in this thing so far?
All right, so honestly, I do think we're gonna hit 8 people, which if we do, that's 4 tag teams. Now, even if we don't, I am almost positive, like at a minimum, we have 6. Like for sure. Like people have been texting me, telling me, like, I am looking forward to this. This was going to be great. Blah, blah. I thought like a bunch of people were going to say yeah and then like not show up, but it really does seem like there's interest. And by the way, if 2 people show up, and it's just me and Tony, I mean,
Well, we're
who
playing for
cares?
the trophy. If it's just me and
it's
you,
still
buddy,
gonna be great.
we're playing
I'm
for
just
this
saying,
trophy.
like, the more the merrier. And by the way, if you want to join us, it's obviously not too late. The thing is 3 weeks away. Contact me or email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. Even if you don't know us personally, seriously, anybody, come on out. It's going to be a fun night. Saturday, June 19th. I think we're going to do it around 11 a.m. And that way, by the time we finish, it'll be like lunchtime-ish. And if anybody wants to go eat something afterwards, we can grab something to eat in the local eateries of Bartlett, Illinois. Or something, whatever. We don't have to, obviously, but I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, so here's the thing. We're going to have 2 different awards. And so one award is going to be for the tag team champions. Like whoever wins the Crockett Cup, it will be a partners, 2 people.
Oh, interesting.
But
Okay.
the lowest score will be the winner, the overall winner of the entire thing. And I think that person should get producer Tony's trophy. And we should put that on top of a 6-foot tall trophy. The person has to like have it in their living room or whatever.
Hopefully that person drives an SUV or larger to get there.
I mean, I drive a truck. For a fee, I can bring it to your home.
This thing can be glued anywhere. And when I say anywhere, I mean anywhere. Okay, guys? So.
All right, one last thing before we head to our special guest. We want to talk a little bit about the Ultimate Warrior A&E biography. Did either one of you guys happen to watch this? Because I got to talk about it.
I did not.
Okay.
I watched it. I saw it. I seen it.
All right. So Ultimate Warrior obviously has his, his ups and downs. He's our dear friend Will's third least favorite wrestler of all time.
Checks out.
Behind Hulk Hogan and the Fabulous Moolah for some reason. And then right behind them is Kevin Sullivan for some odd reason.
No update on that? No clarification?
No, we're just going to let it breathe and let it exist.
Right.
But so this thing came out and I wanted to watch it because I want to watch all these things. Oh boy. So Dingo Warrior was brought up, which
Yep.
I didn't realize that. I mean, it's been a long time since I heard the name Dingo Warrior. It was hilarious. Tony, have you ever heard of the Dingo Warrior before?
Yeah, like I remember I bought the DVD like years ago, the Smear Job DVD that they talked about.
Yeah,
okay.
they talked about the Dingo Warrior there. Good memory.
So
good call.
I do remember the story of the Dingo Warrior and how
The
ridiculous.
self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
Oddly enough, the Dingo Warrior, not the most embarrassing thing the Ultimate Warrior has done.
Oh my God, I didn't know he tagged with Sting. I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's, that very, very beginning of their careers, both bodybuilders went to Memphis. What'd you think about the non-apology that he did, that Vince made him like apologize? I don't even remember what it was for. Like he said something to like someone's kid or something at an autograph signing, or the kid's dad or something. And,
Really?
Yeah, and it was like a very prominent fan. And so then they had to like basically have the Ultimate Warrior make an apology video for these people. And you get to watch like Vince McMahon telling him like what to do and like how to apologize. And in between like him apologizing, he's like, this would be a better apology if I actually did what they're saying I did. I didn't do that. And then Vince McMahon is like, it's a fucking work. It's a work. And then they put the subtitles on the screen, which I definitely took a picture of that for future use.
There was a couple outtakes of promos where like they kept the cameras rolling. Like that shit was amazing. Where like you see Warrior trying to get himself into character, and like Vince is like literally there coaching him through every promo.
If you ask me, that was the best parts of like the entire thing. Yeah,
I totally agree. I already knew some of the story. His like wife was fucking weird though. I got real weird vibes off of her. Yeah,
and I'm gonna get to that in a second. The another interesting thing I should say about this was like the when Warrior decided to leave and he wrote Vince a note saying like he wants Hogan money and all this stuff. And then they talked to Vince, and Vince is like, I couldn't wait to get him to the building to fire him. And then they made him go through, and this is something I didn't know this part or whatever, but I guess he was supposed to be in a match, but then he didn't want to wrestle because they didn't have a contract yet, but they had him like run through and chase somebody, or chase Sergeant Slaughter or Iron Sheik, or I don't remember who it was. And by the time he goes back and through the curtain, they're just waiting there with a letter to give to him. And the letter's like, you are not a legend like Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It was from Vince to Warrior. And it was just like scathing, like just anti-Warrior stuff. And you're suspended for 90 days. And like, you'll never be like a legend like Hulk Hogan or whatever it was. It was so good. That part was like, whoa.
He basically served him papers like while he just came out of a match. And I remember that story from the Self-Destruction DVD of him holding up Vince or trying to hold up Vince, and like Vince was so excited to fire him when he finally got the chance to, and then this shit just went downhill for him.
When he eventually did come back, like many years later, I still didn't really like buy that he was changed. I mean, he seemed like calmer. He seemed like maybe even defeated. Like, I'm just guessing, obviously. But just the way that he carried himself, it kind of seemed like he was just kind of like, I would guess doing it just to get that contract, the Legends contract or whatever they get for being Hall of Famers. And the big thing to him seemed to be that video the entire time, the documentary that you're talking about, like just what they said about me and how they could do that video and blah, blah. It's not like he was like, I'm sorry for the things that I've said in the past 10 years or whatever. He was like, that video, I hated that video. And you're right, man. Dana Warrior to me just has always been like something's not right. And so she's like defending, saying that like towards the end of his life he had changed his way. In the documentary, she says that he started watching like Rush Limbaugh and all these conservative, interestingly enough, conservative, listening to conservative radio, and then all of a sudden he's racist and homophobic. You don't say. God. You don't.
He would have had the best 5 years of his life, the past 5 years, if he was still alive today. But you know who Dana Warrior kind of reminded me of? The blonde chick from The Office who dates Dwight. Is her name Angela? Is that
Angela? Yeah.
She reminds me a lot of her, just like the way she talks.
Yeah, like a colder Angela.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, and so I guess she got some backlash from this thing because there is an interview from 2004. I guess there's people who say Ultimate Warrior used to be more liberal or whatever. And there's an interview in 2004 where he says that Dana is the one who got him into like the conservative stuff. Okay. So there was a little bit of drama with that kind of stuff. Definitely worth a watch. Didn't make me feel bad for Ultimate Warrior or Dana Warrior. I mean, that might make me a bad person or whatever. Of course, I feel bad for his kids, Indiana Warrior and Madison Warrior, spelled Mattison. I feel bad for them because it's their dad, obviously, and whatever. I mean, that's sad in any situation. But it didn't make me feel any better for Warrior or Dana Warrior or them. Anyway, enough of that. It's time to bring this thing up. Do I have to do something here? Do I have to call our special guest? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, if you're able to do that.
That's going to take me a minute. So you guys talk.
Tony, I had this picture up on the YouTube. This is a picture of Warrior that was sent to me by John in the chat. John, also, I want to give him a shout out. He's the only person that tried his damnedest to stay with us in the during the live stream last week. When everything was going down, he was trying on his phone, he was trying on his computer, he was trying on his laptop, just trying everywhere to make sure that we knew that we weren't alone out here. But he sent me this picture of Warrior. Did they show this picture on TV?
Yes. Yes, they did. Yeah.
This is very close to being not safe for work.
I think the term is grape smuggler. I think
it's a very tainted Ultimate Warrior. And he's wearing just a Speedo. I don't even know if it can be classified as a Speedo. It's some sort of, I don't even know how you describe this thing. Just a
grape pouch.
Yeah, it's
grape
some
pouch.
sort of pouch.
Coin
All
purse.
right, I think our guest is here. Can we switch over to the
Doesn't look great, but we'll see what happens when I do.
Here's our guest, Bo Dallas. Stay with us, everybody. We might get kicked. Oh, there he is. The king of art, Justin Tuttle, has joined us.
Final.
We did.
What's up, guys?
Not too much. It only took us almost 150 episodes to get you on here. Even though you've done art for us and you're always so kind to us, we're like, no, we're busy this week talking about Ultimate Warrior's junk. But thank you so much.
I was originally going to come on in the very early stages of the podcast, and then I thought, no, I'm going to give them 111 episodes to get their shit together. And then it didn't happen, so I just said, well, now or never.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a feat.
I don't work for handshakes and hot dogs anymore. Those days are long over.
Well, you and I need to talk. We're getting back into it.
I heard that the return of Johnny Swift. I cannot. I need to be there for this.
Sure, you want to drive 4 hours?
No, not that badly.
I'll let you know. There you go. I'll let you know when I'm in town. I honestly don't know what's going on with the YouTube feed. You, Justin, and Tony look great. Me and Sasha keep bouncing in and out, and I'm terrified to do anything. So let's just keep going. And I apologize if you're watching on YouTube. But if you're listening, this is more reason to listen to it audibly.
All right, you just keep trying stuff,
You got
Peewee.
it.
We'll,
Yeah, and Justin, I don't know if I've ever met you, but I swear to God, I've met a guy that looks just like you before.
You very well could have. You very well. I was at a Rumble party years and years ago, but I don't remember too much about it.
You know, I was going to ask you, when's the last time I saw you? Was it when we wrestled, or have I seen you since, like, Jefferson, Wisconsin?
We have. I was at a Rumble, Royal Rumble party, but man, it was like 6 years ago. It was a long time.
And I showed up to that one?
I believe you were there. Yeah.
Okay.
You were pissed. You were yelling about Connor, and it was 4 or 5 years before he was even born. So it was very odd.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've been angry at Connor for a long time, and rightfully so. The man, I will call him a man. He's a 6-year-old man who he's already invited my wife to his bedroom multiple times. That's the truth. That's not a joke.
What does that mean?
Last time we came over, he was like, "Hey, you want to come into my room and see my room?" And she was like, "All right." And I haven't seen her since. So I don't know what's going on.
The kid's got game. He knows what's up.
He does. And then he gets to wash the Macho Man hat in the driveway. I've never been invited. I was invited to drive to the middle of Illinois to pick up the hat on my own nickel and dime. Connor didn't have to do that. Connor, he's got his own successful truck business. Anyway, none of that. Neither here nor there.
Man, this took a turn. All right.
This is actually all part of my act, which you guys will soon be able to see down at CU Comedy.
Yes,
hopefully.
Please do. We're dying for you to come down and test out all your new jokes.
How's everything going ever since you guys have been back?
It's a slow return, but we're getting there. The whole last year kind of killed us, but we're finally getting back on our feet. It's going to take a while to get back to where we were around February of last year, but it's getting there. It's a lot of work. Are
you guys still at like capacities you have to deal with? Because I know you guys also live where there are no rules. So
south of I-80 is a different state, basically.
Yeah, Champaign-Urbana is a weird city. Half the town hasn't worn masks since this started, and the other half are losing their mind over this, and I don't think they'll ever stop wearing the masks. So we're in a weird cul-de-sac of up and down here.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are back. I'm enjoying your brother, I'm guessing, runs all the Twitter stuff.
I do all the images and make them, but I am not dealing with the people on social media. So he's
good for you.
Yeah, he's in charge of posting it and being the front man, and I'm just kind of behind the scenes here.
Smart man. I am going to come down there eventually at some point. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but when things open up completely, if you guys will have me, of course.
You have an open slot. Anytime you want it, you come down and you take. We're not even going to like you. You take as long as you like.
Road trip.
You can Venmo me back the money that I sent you earlier today. I'll appreciate it.
We pay very big for open mic sets.
I do want to talk a little bit of wrestling because for those who don't know, we go way, way back. You were actually in my last match ever with you and your brother versus me and Casey James with Peewee as the referee and Jim Cornette making fun of me. I'm
still shocked that that's your last match. That's
what a way to go out.
Right? Going out on top.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us know how to walk away from the business at the right time. You know what I mean?
Some of us stayed in 7 years after that.
I do want to know about, I guess, some of your like wrestling fandom stuff. The generic questions. Who's your favorite four? Who's your Mount Rushmore? We gotta know.
Oh, the favorite four. All right. I thought about this long and hard. Well, the first one is just the most easy one. Is Ric Flair. You got to go with him. His run from 86 to like 89 in NWA is insane, and no one's ever going to top that. And then I noticed when people do these, onto my number 2 here, they never talk about tag teams. We got to get back to my realm of what I know. So I got to throw out number 2 of all time, Demolition. This is 7-year-old, not in-ring ability, but just the gimmick itself.
I was going to say, when I think of the Phoenix Twins, I don't immediately have visions of Demolition.
No, they were everything we wanted to be but couldn't, so we settled for lukewarm rockers. But no, as a kid, they were my top guys, and even today, they have the best theme song of all time. So I'm in number 3, sticking with tag teams. I got to go Tully and Arn. Just again the NWA stuff. their run in WWF, even though it didn't last long, everything they did was fantastic there.
So are you a bigger NWA fan or NWA WCW that era than you were, like, let's say WWF?
When I was a kid, it was all WWF, but now that I actually have a brain, NWA is way better.
Okay.
You have to everything that whole run in the mid to late 80s it's fantastic.
Do you ever pull a Sasha and go back and watch old NWA stuff?
Rarely anymore, but if I'm going to rewatch stuff, it's going to be both companies from like 86 to 89. Anything else doesn't really exist to me anymore.
That's amazing.
Okay. And so who's your number 4?
This is the one. Okay, so this is the one that I came up with, and this is a current guy, so it's weird that he's on my Mount Rushmore, but he's the only guy that can get me to tune in and actually watch pro wrestling today, and that's Walter.
Really?
Wow.
NXT. I think that guy. There's that old saying that a lot of people, you'll hear, Cornette talks about it a lot, where he's like, well, all that wrestling, it's all a bunch of fake shit. But that guy's real. And I apply that to Walter. Because when that guy comes out, you believe every single thing that he does. And especially today, that's impossible. So, yeah, everything he does is phenomenal. That guy, he scares the shit out of me. So I love watching.
You just earned a fan in Hattori Hanzo, who's a big Walter fan. I think he's been buying his figures recently. I'm with you. I was watching NXT before we started this show, and they just had him on for like a 20-second promo. And exactly how you're saying, you just go like, whoa, like you have to watch, and you're kind of scared a little bit, which doesn't happen with guys like Johnny Gargano.
Oh,
and,
no.
You know.
Not at all. The whole presentation of Walter is great. The jacket he wears, the music, everything he does is just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so that's your favorites. Who's your Mount Trashmore? Your
oh boy, I'm about ready to get heat from every listener you guys have.
Oh no, including us.
The first one was easy. The first guy that came to my mind, and it's because he was the biggest dick that when we were wrestling that we met was Buff Bagwell.
Oh,
I believe
today's your Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, we met him down at the Nashville Fairgrounds at a show for Burt Prentice, and he was just a massive asshole, and I to this day can't stand him. I heard he just got arrested for something, and good. I don't know what it was. He left the scene of an accident or something, and it was like, that sounds right. He was a pussy.
Probably like human trafficking, allegedly, or something. I don't know what it was.
I hope it's something that comes with 20 years. Can't stand him. Number 2, this is an odd pick. So back in the late 90s, there was a guy in the cruiserweight division named Alex Wright.
This is on your most hated list? Look at this.
To this day.
Look at this.
Look at this guy. Now ask me why. Look at that dance.
All day.
I don't know if you caught the YouTube clip a couple weeks ago, but my picture was Alex Wright, and his junk was like kind of directly in front of my face.
I saw. That's what kept this in the forefront of my mind until today.
Okay, I'm glad I could pull that memory back at the forefront.
It brought back fury from when I was a teenager. This guy would come on the screen with his massive bulge and doing that dance, and I'm just like, this guy sucks.
This is brilliant.
Fury. Just watching it now, I want to punch my computer. God.
Let's just keep it there for the entire rest of the show.
Good. If only you could get him pointing my direction on the screen. Because.
All right, who's your number 3?
Number 3, it's again. I'm revamping up all the feelings I had when I was a teenager watching it. DX. Everything they did, I despised. Not in a good way. No, and I know Shawn Michaels is a great worker, but the group itself, I cannot stand. That was one of those guys that had go home heat with me when I was a fan back in the 90s.
That's interesting. So who did you cheer for at that time? Were you a Stone Cold guy?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, he came out and I was like, oh look, a real man. And then they come out and I'm like, ugh.
So are you a Brett guy?
I never was.
I've
come around on him a little bit. Like, I think Shawn's a better. If I'm going to go back and watch people, I'm going to watch Shawn matches over Brett.
Smart man.
Yeah, I see Tony pointing at the sign in the back. Brett's a shit man, not a hit man. God, we got to bring back live signs.
Hell yeah.
And your number 4.
And this is where everyone turns on me. I'm doing a heel turn here. All-time hatred. Not the worker. Not the guy. He's fantastic in the ring, a lot of respect, but the gimmick and more so the angles that surrounded this guy throughout his career, most hated of all time, The Undertaker.
Wow.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
I hate every gimmick, and here's why. Everything I hate about wrestling now, the supernatural stuff, the teleportation, the cinematic matches, all stem from The Undertaker getting that horse shit over in the 90s. And now everyone wants to he died and his soul left his body in front of a live crowd. It's insanity.
Yeah, we talked about it last week when we were talking about the zombies and the Miz match from that pay-per-view.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I agree. We
people-
totally agree with you.
People hated that, but they praised The Undertaker in the 90s when he killed his family accidentally, and then his long-lost brother came back 30 years later to get revenge. It's the same thing.
It is kind of a weird thing that, like, him to be such a fan favorite with all of that backstory. Like, A, look at him. Like, that's not, like, what a face is supposed to look like. B, death of his family members being burned.
Classic babyface story.
C, comes back as American Badass or whatever. That was the worst gimmick of all time.
In history, yeah. Just
See, I'm the only person who, when he came out as American Badass, I was like, finally, he's doing something good.
You're like, oh, he's a real man.
He's a person now. I can get into this.
Modeled himself after Stone Cold.
That's interesting. I'm kind of with you, though. Well, no, I'm not with you. Like, most of Undertaker's career, or at least half of his career, I mean, I was a huge fan of his when I was a kid, too. And maybe that's part of it, is like when you're a kid, you can like that supernatural stuff. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. But, like, the longer that he hung on, like the last 15 years that he hung on, you're like, please, is this the last match? Is this it? And now he's like, hey man, my name's Mark.
Yeah, I wish we would have got that guy the whole time.
You got it.
Just the backwood redneck Undertaker. Just, I'll beat you up sometimes, and sometimes we'll just have a beer. Who knows? That guy.
It is funny that's like what his idea was after seeing Stone Cold be the biggest star in the world. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be a redneck who drinks a lot of beer.
He just straight up stole his gimmick, but I'm gonna ride a motorcycle instead of a Zamboni. So it's good.
You recently sent me and I think Peewee a bunch of pictures of a bunch of stuff that you found from your house, a bunch of old wrestling figures and everything.
Oh, I didn't know you got these
and when
too.
I saw
this was awesome.
Oh yeah, my eyes started dollar signs started popping up over here.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing with it? Says, by the way, great collection because you have a beautiful Sid or two in there.
I have two Sids.
Amazing collection. What are you planning on doing with it now that you've uncovered this treasure?
Well, the problem with the treasure, it's only half mine, and the other half I have to split with Tweak, so the profits are getting dwindling quickly.
That's a problem. That is a problem.
I think we're just, I don't know yet. There's some cool stuff in there though. There's a set of the Freebirds from back in the 80s.
Oh, the old AWA figures. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they originally came with like red glittery robe things that I don't have, which if I wish I did. But yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. Maybe we'll hand it out for whoever wins DOA today.
Does part of you like want to? I don't want to say display because that's a weird word to use, but like just keep them around for your own sake, even though you're a 30-something-year-old man. I'm assuming. I mean, 24-year-old man or whatever.
Yeah, for right now we'll probably keep them for nostalgia, which is weird for a man who hates professional wrestling now. So people come over and ask me about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's stupid, but then I display it anyway.
So what year did you start hating professional wrestling?
Oh God, well we quit in.
I was gonna say 4 years before they quit.
Yeah.
I will. This is the one thing that I hang my hat on. I'm one of the few guys who the last match we had and we quit, I never wanted to go back a day afterwards. I'm not old Peewee here who 15 years later is going to believe it. The day we quit, I was done, and I've never went back. I've watched it sporadically here and there, but I don't know. I got so burnt out that last year, and I've never wanted to go back. And we got out just in time because it's really went downhill since then.
Do you remember the last match you had? Like the very last one?
Yeah, it was. Oh my God, a garbage match. It was. It was an AEW. It was like a no rope barbed wire match, like a gimmick match, and which is weird about the match too, because before we agreed to do it, they were like, no, we're gonna gimmick the barbed wire where we'll snip all the the things off, and none of that happened. So it was just like these 1-inch long barbs, and I remember getting in there going, I'm not going into that.
Smart.
This is the last one. I'm not. So I think I hit it once.
I got nothing to prove. I'm not booked next month. I'm good.
Yeah,
that's great.
No, it was, and then there was like all kinds of garbage in there, and I could not wait. I remember the last bump I took, we're standing up, and we knew we were done, and I told Jesse, I was like, let's get out of here and go tell some fucking jokes.
You guys were already doing comedy at that point, though, right? You'd done it for a couple years, like overlapping?
Yeah, like a year and a half. We were just doing local open mics, nothing big yet, but we knew like we have to transfer wrestling into comedy and get out of this.
And so what's your favorite thing that you did in wrestling? Because you had lengthy career, 13 years, 12 years. What was it?
Yeah,
10 years?
11 to 12. Yeah. God, we did some good stuff. Working Lawler was really cool because we was big Memphis fans. So
that was a great match. I have that somewhere, or I had it. I know I have to still have this thing. Worm, who the other two guys know, Justin. The Worm is the announcer for this match.
Oh, okay.
So it was Lawler versus. Was it a handicap match?
It was no.
It wasn't. You just did the switch the whole time. It was. I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
It was just a him against Tweak, but I was at ringside, and then we just switched in and out the whole time. We didn't call anything. Lawler would just tell us like switch, and we would just roll in and roll out the whole match. I don't even think the finish was called. Wow. Like I think we just called it all in the ring.
450.
And where was this match?
Valparaiso, Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And Lawler was really cool. He was so fun to work with, so easy to work with, and light. The pile driver hurt like a son of a bitch, but the punches light. Air, but everything. We got to meet so many guys. Like we got to go out with. We had a show with Jake Roberts at one point, and then he took us out to dinner. And it was in a small Mexican restaurant, and he was sitting at the head of the table with. And I know Sasha will like this: a Tommy Bahama shirt.
Oh yeah!
Wow! Wide open, his big belly sitting out at the table, and he's telling us stories about working Andre in Japan.
Wow.
So that was fun.
That's awesome.
And oddly enough, when we met Dusty Rhodes down in Nashville, he did the same thing. He was telling us about how one time they were in a whorehouse with Andre, and it was raining outside, and the power went out, and then Andre pissed on top of Dusty Rhodes' shoulder, and there was basically nothing that Dusty could do about it except go, "It's the rain."
That's amazing.
So much. I got to meet Terry Funk once, which was fun.
Wow.
How did that happen?
AEW. He was doing just a stop by an AEW, just like an autograph signing.
Okay.
So he walked in the side room of the bar, and in AEW with the backstage, it was basically just a big bar. And when he walked in the side door, I stepped right in front of him as he was passing the bar like a deterrent. And I said, "Mr. Funk, it's very nice to meet you." And he said, "Yeah," and that was it. That was my entire interaction with one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't. He put me on the pay no mind list, and I was like, I appreciate it. That's exactly what you should have done.
That's
so
awesome.
Last week,
and then,
did you have another story? I don't want to cut you off here. These are good.
I was just gonna. We had some really good stuff with a tag team called the North Star Express up in Chicago, and Joey Eastman.
Corbin, I remember those two. Yeah.
I liked it just because we did not touch each other for a year, or like in a match. Like we built it for a year, and then we did like a tables, ladders, and chairs match, and it was really good. Yeah. And that was probably like my favorite match that we did.
That's awesome. The
AAW now runs in Villa Park, Illinois, which is like 20 minutes from my house. So if you ever want to get back into it,
I'm still on very good terms with Danny Daniels up there. I'm sure he would throw me out there to the Sharks and watch me get murdered.
I'm going to make this happen via Twitter.
Well, Peewee could ref.
So, I'm in.
Uh-oh.
So last week, we got a question. I don't remember how it came up. It might have been in an email, but we had to go back and rehash. And someone asked about previous matches that I had done and been in the ring for where there had been injuries. And I mentioned the Mickey Doyle stuff. I mentioned long time knocking somebody out. One thing I didn't remember until right now, do you know what I'm going to say?
I don't.
You and your brother promoted your own show, and you guys booked yourselves in the main event, and I believe it was a tables match, And the end of the match ended up with, I believe it was you going through a table, and more specifically, a piece of metal from that table going through your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Through
terrifying.
my leg. Yeah, it was. And after the match, I want to say it was Jason Pellegrini was helping clean up the ring, and he actually picked up something. He's like, "Why is there Jello in the ring?" And it was a piece of my leg muscle that he was holding in his hand. Because when I jumped and hit the
This
table,
doesn't
my
taste
leg went
like
underneath
Jell-O.
it. Yeah, and we had to drive like an hour and a half to a hospital that was open so they could put, I think, like 9 staples and 11 stitches in there. So that was worth the payday.
On your own show, right? Man, I completely forgot about that until literally I saw your face pop up on the screen.
Yeah, no, that was a disaster. I don't know why we ever thought we could do that. Well, because we had bought our own professional wrestling ring. We built an entire building at our house to put it in. So, like, because we were training every single day.
That's right. They built a shed. They built a shed in their backyard that would hold a 18 by 18 foot ring. I cannot understand how your mother agreed to this.
Oh, she hated it. She was furious. We took all of our savings and bought a ring and a giant pole barn that we had built from scratch so that we could put all our ring and all of our memorabilia in it. And then we were training every day.
Every day they would go into their backyard and just go into the shed and start working.
Yep. For like 3 or 4 hours a day.
Today I was driving and I was like, man, we should really start our own indie. And now we have a shed guy. Like,
yeah, what happened to all that stuff? Does your mom still have it in her backyard?
Can we borrow it?
She lives in a different house now. She sold all that. We sold the ring. I think we sold it for parts.
Okay. Yeah, it came with the house if you bought it.
And so now you and your brother have been doing comedy for over 10 years, whatever it is.
Oh, my God.
10 years,
wow.
Which is incredible. What's it going to take for the two of you to move to the Chicago suburbs and take me under your wing?
Oh, wow. I'm guessing a Walter Payton 6-inch might get it started.
Ooh.
Okay.
I can make that happen.
There it is.
I plan on
Wait, we need 2 of them? Is that the thing? We have to get 2?
You could never have enough, I say. But I don't know. I've been to Chicago to do stand-up a few times, but it's very hectic up there. And I kind of like the way we do it. We're in control. We have up there, you wait around for 3 hours and you get 3 minutes of stage time on an open mic, and it's not really worth it. Down here, we have a full audience of people, and I get to do a half hour, and whatever we draw, we get to keep. So,
yeah, it's really cool that you guys, are Champaign-Urbana comedy. Like, you guys are a scene. You guys created that. That's my opinion. You don't have to. You probably suffer from low self-esteem like I do, so you won't take compliments well. But like everything that you guys do, like online that I'm looking at, I'm just like, man, these guys. It's just like wrestling. Like the first time I saw you guys wrestle, I was like, man, these guys know what they're doing. Whether you did or didn't, but
we were really much like comedy. We were really good at faking it.
That's all you need.
So you make it, baby.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
No, it is a complete scene down here. It's really the shows are pretty for a small for a small area as it is. We draw pretty good crowds, and it's a pretty good scene. And everything we learned was really from wrestling. The promotion, the actual show aspect of it was all professional wrestling. And I think that's why a lot of people can't really run great comedy shows. A lot of people believe all you need is a mic and a stage, and that is not true at all. You need the entire production value. You need it to flow. You need an opener. You need a headliner.
Comedy theory. I love it.
Yeah, you need a good room. You have to have a good room. Like, a little of everything. But you guys are doing it. It's fantastic, and I love to see it. It's and you guys do get a lot of people coming from Chicago down there. Like, they're not household names, that Peewee is gonna know or whatever. But it's guys who I know who are like really good comics.
Yeah, we get some of the better comics from Chicago to come. We're on really good terms with a lot of them, and most of them love getting out of Chicago and actually performing in front of big crowds. So it works really well, and we get some really good comics in.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll do some plugs at the end of the show, but right now, I think you guys know what time it is.
I don't have it.
Sorry, I thought I had like a big gong in the back, but I don't have one. It's time for a little Dead or Alive. We need a dong, Peewee.
I can work on a dong. Okay.
All right, well, You're a frequent listener of this show, so you know the rules. But in case people don't know the rules of this game are simple. I'm going to give out names of people, and we're going to guess if they're dead or alive. And we got Tony, we got Peewee, we got our dear friend Justin Tuttle, one-on-one. And if any of you get to 3 correct answers, you're going to get a prize. What is that prize? Let's take a look, shall we?
Oh.
First and foremost, we have this WWE Jumbo Coloring and Activity Book with John Cena on the cover.
I was hoping it was older than that.
Friend of the podcast.
Second, we have Space Jam on VHS.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the old clamshells. I will provide a VCR if needed.
I was going to say, that's a big promise.
And last but not least, the 4th greatest Serbian wrestler of all time has his own figure. We're playing for the Otis figure, fellas.
Whoa.
Shit.
This was the prize that was teased, I think, 2 weeks ago.
I gotta limber up.
Tony's eyes have perked up. Tony, if you're not watching, is stretching right now. Tony's ready to go.
I will say before we start, I'm nervous to play this game because when I'm listening alone in my car, I talk so much shit about how good I am. I'm going to go 0 for 4, but all right.
It's funny. Your brother actually messaged me recently, and he's like, I want to play Dead or Alive because I know like how to pick dead or alive people. And so I told him, I was like, well, you either have to wait in line or just book me for a showdown there. And so he chose to wait in line. But unfortunately for me, but fortunately for us, I think maybe not the next DOA, but the one after that, we're going to set up, Peewee, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we're going to set up a 5-way, ever Dead or Alive square dance where we will have both Tuttles involved. We will have Tony. We will have Peewee, and it will be glorious. But that's going to be for a couple months, so you have some time to brush up on your whatever
some
this
more
thing's
RAM
called.
on your computer there, Peewee.
We'll see. Yeah. The computer's currently smoking. Let's start wrapping this up.
All right. First and foremost, and I'm going to send you guys pictures through Skype over here. The first guy that, we all know similar people. Guy number 1, Rockin' Rebel. Rockin' Rebel.
That was close. And if you would have gone the other way, I still wouldn't have had a definitive answer one way or another.
Let me see. How do I send this?
The best way to do it would be to send it to me earlier when I ask you if you have any pictures to post.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Just copy it and paste it in the Skype chat. That'll work.
Where's the chat? I don't see this chat. Oh,
We've been using Skype for this podcast for 112 episodes, and he still doesn't know where the chat button is.
All right. First and foremost, you got the Rockin' Rebel, born in 1966
What a
in
mullet!
Alabama.
Damn.
If he's alive, he's 55. Trained by the Rock and Roll Express. Debuted in 1989 and had some WWE squash matches against Honky Tonk Man and Brutus. How crazy is that? The first year that he debuts, he's already doing squash matches. Then he stayed around the Philly area. He was an ECW guy, left in 95 and had a stint in WCW and WWF, appeared regularly in Japan, Puerto Rico. And then in 2000, he joins Combat Zone Wrestling. Wrestles his last match in 2014, where he lost to AEW's QT Marshall. Yeah, how's that for a last match? Mine was significantly better than the Rockin' Rebels. Anyway, dear friend Justin Tuttle, you are our guest of honor, so you're going to go first here. Rockin' Rebel, dead or alive?
I want to say that mullets never die, and that's a good one, but the CZW one really threw me. I don't think you can live very long after performing there without getting some 5 kinds of hepatitis. So I'm going, I think he's still alive.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he's alive.
Hard left turn at the last minute.
What a swerve.
That's because you fell in love with Nick Gage last week on the, what's it called, Dark Side of the Ring, and now you're a CZW fan, and it's not as bad as we think. Correct?
Everything you said is correct.
Producer Tony, what do you got?
Can't wait for Nick
Rockin'
Gage
Rebel, dead or
to
alive.
make it into Champagne Urbana for a comedy set.
So this guy, his picture, he does not look like a CZW guy. He looks like a early 90s, late 80s, like flamboyant tights squash guy. But you said he was an ECW and CZW, and that is a recipe for disaster. I think he is dead via a light tube to the throat.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he was forced to go to CZW because of hard times. Like he didn't want to go to CZW.
Nobody goes to CZW for good times.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? There's only one reason you're going there.
BYO Weed Whacker. Peewee, what do you got? Dead or alive?
Before you sent us the picture, when I heard Rockin' Rebel, I was picturing a female, and I was gonna go. I was going Rockin' Robin. I definitely thought you were talking about Rockin' Robin. And then you started describing her as the ECW, former ECW, CZW, and I was very impressed that Rockin' Robin was willing to branch out that much. But then you changed it. Then I decided, or I figured out who he actually was. This gorgeous man in this ECW ring with this mullet that we don't even know where it ends. I'm going to go with... For being in ECW, this guy was in decent shape. ECW wasn't known for guys... In ECW, it wasn't a body first, persona second kind of mentality in the locker room. This guy did put his body first. Look at this guy. He's in shape. I can see why he was a job guy right out of the gate. I think this guy took care of himself. As sketchy of a past he probably had, I'm going to go that he's alive.
Rockin' Rebel. Oh, by the way, Rockin' Robin, my uncle was, I think, trying to sleep with her at a hotel one time. Like, they used to go to the same hotels after the wrestlers like would have a show. And I believe Jake the Snake was like, get lost. Because isn't that like his sister?
Oh, yeah, they're related somehow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I think Jake the Snake like scared my uncle away, but signed an autograph on a $1 bill. So he has a Jake signed
everything about that
bill.
story is fantastic.
Yeah. Rockin' Rebel. Dead.
Oh.
Williams died at home in Westchester in the early hours of June 1st, 2018. On June 2nd, the West Goshen Township PD said that he shot and killed his wife before shooting himself. Wow. His 10-year-old children found their bodies the next morning. On June 21st, 2018, Kairos Law announced that Williams' family decided to donate his brain for CTE research. That was a trick question because you're right, Peewee. He looks like he's in good shape, but brain injuries, man.
Yeah.
Brain injuries.
That's
that was terrible.
Terrible story, yeah.
That guy, he didn't just die. He really died.
Yeah.
You wanted to make sure you guys were wrong. So, Producer Tony, you're the only one who still has a chance at all this crap that's to my right.
I need that Otis figure. I need it in my life.
The second guy we're going to go with here, if I can figure out how to open the chat again, is Gran Hamada. Now, that's not a hotel chain. Gran Hamada is a Japanese wrestler born in 1950, which would make him 70 today if he's still alive. 5'6", 200 pounds. This guy wrestled in New Japan, All Japan, Mexico, Michinoku Pro, WWF, UWF, ECW. If you'll remember, this was a guy who he tagged with like Great Sasuke and I don't know who else. But they went against Kaientai in ECW before they were Kaientai or whatever. And this guy, 5'6", but he had the sickest headbutts in the world. He would go all the way back and then just like destroy with his headbutts. I wish I didn't like do this research 5 minutes before like the show, so I could have sent Peewee.
Oh, that's why you didn't send me pictures. You didn't have the names of anybody. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I would love a video or a GIF of this guy headbutting something.
Maybe next week it'll open the show in one of our squares over there. But anyway, 5'6", 200 pounds. One of the first dojo trainees at New Japan, known as Little Hamada because of the lack of size. He was sent to Mexico and became a great lucha-style wrestler, where they changed his name to Gran Hamada, which means the great Hamada. You're welcome. Journeyman, the guy wrestled everywhere. Like I said, ECW, Japan, Mexico, all over the place. Here's the reason why I brought him up. This sentence. In 2001, he began competing for All Japan again, this time as a free agent. He briefly was part of the Love Machine stable under a mask known as Mini Love Machine.
Oh, yeah.
Tagging with Super Love Machine and Super Strong Machine and Love Machine Storm. They were a stable of love machines. Somehow, no Matt Longtime. They used Morning Musume's hit song "Love Machine" as their entrance theme. How do we not know about
Agreed. This either this is where Longtime got the idea for it, or they are very big Matt Longtime fans.
Yeah, and it says 2001, so they're clearly Longtime fans. He has 2 daughters that are both half Mexican and pro wrestlers as well. Shitty thing for him was that he won the WWF lightweight title, but it was during a time where it was promoted by the UWA and exclusively defended in Mexico. So the title reigns are not officially recognized by the WWE. So he was a WWE champion, but they will not say that he is a champion. Anyway, Grand Hamada, Peewee, what do you think about this man? Dead or alive?
I didn't know anything about this guy other than...
You don't remember him, huh?
I don't remember him until in the chat, Ivica mentioned that he was in a match on Barely Legal. I don't know if it was the opening match, but I did just look it up. He and Great Sasuke and Masato somebody, not Tanaka, defeated the BWO Japan at Barely Legal.
Isn't that the Kaientai guys, or am I just being racist?
No, that is. You're correct. It's Taka, Terry Boy, and Dick Togo. Even that I barely remember. I'm going to take the easy way out and say his move was a headbutt. He had some sort of brain damage. He is no longer with us. But that's the layup.
Justin, what do you got?
Well, I'm looking at the picture that you have on the feed here, and he's in the ring in his prime. I mean, he looks like he's having a living funeral as I'm looking at him when he's alive. God, he's a ghoul. I think I'm going to go against my better instinct again. I think he's still alive.
But look at the hair on that ghoul. Like, for how old he looks in the face, he looks 30 years younger in the hair.
Oh yeah, that's a 20-year-old's haircut.
There's
on
highlights in there. That is a gorgeous head of hair on that man.
And then you go below the hair, though, and good grief.
That's a man who's taken his collagen peptides, if you know what I mean. Does anybody know what I mean?
Nope.
He's got strong nails and hair. Come on, everybody. Anyway, producer Tony, have you taken your collagen peptides? Is this man dead or alive?
That's a tricky one because Japanese people are known to live long, I believe. That might be racist. I'm not sure. But I think the key here is, Peewee mentioned it, subconcussive hits to the head are bad for your health. He was a guy who did headbutts a lot. So I'm going to say if he was alive, he was like, what, 75, I think you said, Sash?
70.
70. Oh, that changes the calculus a little bit. Fuck it. I'm going to say he's dead.
A lot of pressure.
Our dear friend, Gran Hamada. Gran alive.
Woo!
Sorry, producer Tony. The Otis stays with me. The Space Jam stays with me. The coloring book stays with me. And now we have a tie here. Peewee, you said
three-way tie.
Right?
Yeah, we got a three-way tie.
I should never go along with Peewee. That was my first mistake.
Wait, Peewee, you said dead.
Correct.
So
yeah, I correct. You're exactly right.
Trying to cheat to win, though. You got to respect that. 0-2, 1-1, 1-1. All right, producer Tony 1-1, Justin Tuttle 1-1, Peewee 0-2. We go to our last guy here.
I got a shot.
And we're gonna stay in Japan. We're going Grand Kabuki, fellas. Grand Kabuki, born September 1948, which would make him 72 years old today. Trained by Giant Baba, started wrestling at the age of 16. Moved to the U.S. in the 70s. From there, he wrestled everywhere. All Japan, NWA, Mid-South, World Class. Gary Hart gave him the name Great Kabuki in 1981, which might be racist, Gary Hart. Hart family member Gary Hart. Before matches, he would show his skills with the nunchucks. Oh, I got to send you guys the picture of the nunchucks. Because, you guys need this, right?
Absolutely. Is it just the nunchucks?
It's just nunchucks, yeah. It kind of looks like he's walking on two canes, but that's
God.
nunchucks. I promise you. And let's see. He was the first wrestler to blow Asian mist into his opponent's faces.
That's huge.
And Wikipedia said that, not me. When Great Muta debuted in the NWA, his manager was Gary Hart. And Gary Hart called him Kabuki's son due to their similar styles and use of the Asian mist. However, in reality, they are not related. Feuded against a lot of people. Jimmy Valiant, Abdullah the Butcher, Dusty Rhodes, Kawada, Gentleman Chris Adams, Tenryu, Bruiser Brody, the Fabulous Freebirds. Let me see here. He's one of the co-founders of IWA Japan. And he had his retirement tour in 1998. Ending with a match of him, Terry Funk, and Doug Gilbert defeating Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and Metalface.
Metalface.
So, producer Tony. No, Peewee, you got to go.
Yeah,
first.
let me get out of the way. And I think I got this on lock. You gave us a ton of information, but the only one that I think is going to matter is that he's the innovator, the first man to do the mist in the face. And the reason that that's probably important, I'm going to guess he didn't use something that was like edible safe. I got to imagine he was just putting like whatever lead paint he could find into his mouth and keeping it in his mouth the entire match and then blowing it in the guy's face. And he probably did this for months, if not years on end. This guy died via lead poisoning.
Now it's going to come down here to the final two. And you have to either agree with Peewee or look at that guy with the possibly two canes. Maybe it's nunchucks, maybe it's canes. I'm not sure. But he's not looking too good in that picture over there. Let's go with producer Tony to start things off here. Great Kabuki, dead or alive?
Okay, so you said this guy was older than Hamada is.
Yep.
And that picture that you just showed right now, he looks like he's 95 years old whenever that picture was taken. He looks terrible.
His stance,
and you said
his posture is not good.
His
Yes.
posture, and the fact that he has nunchucks, you know that I am a big anti-nunchuck guy. Whoever's swinging them around in a wrestling ring, not a big fan. So I'm gonna, against my better judgment, I'm gonna agree with Peewee, and I'm gonna say this man is dead.
You know, the mist is probably the reason why he's standing like that.
His body is just no longer full of organs and blood. It's just all full of mist.
Just wobbling around. Justin Tuttle, great Kabuki. It all comes down to this. You can either agree with producer Tony and go for the tie, or go against him and go for the win. It's up to you. Great Kabuki, dead or alive?
I agree with Pee-wee's logic that I think this guy just chewed and swallowed lead paint for 50 years. But I'm going an opposite result. I think that built up his immune system to the point that he's like a Godzilla level of absorption. And this dude is going to live to 130 years old. I think he's still alive.
Wow.
Great Kabuki wrestled his final match on September 30th, 2018.
Ooh.
At age 70 at a show that was independently produced in an 8-man tag match where he tagged with a man named Giant Small Baba and Antonio Koinoki, a.k.a. Miniature Antonio Inoki, who was 5'2" and 120 pounds, still alive.
Wow.
Justin Tuttle is the winner.
Wow. Huge
There
comeback.
you go, kid. Drink paint.
Drink paint. If you can take one piece of advice from this show, it is to drink paint for 50 years. And
COVID's
you
got
too.
nothing on this guy. He's going to outlive us all.
And so that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to have a predictions update as Peewee this week will go head-to-head against AEW's Double or Nothing live on Sunday night.
Fantastic.
Producer Tony is going to be in a contract dispute, so we will have a special secret co-host. I'm probably going to talk a lot about Royal Rumble 93 since I've been watching it every night for the past 5 weeks because I keep falling asleep during it. But that's about it. And musical guest Billy Ocean will join us. What's making me bitter this week is Raw. Raw sucks. I watched Raw again yesterday for some reason. You guys remember what Raw used to end with? Like Stone Cold, or like something crazy happening, or like a cliffhanger ending. Well, Raw last night ended with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax taking on the women's tag team champions, Natty Neidhart and Tamina Snuka. Why are there women's tag belts if that's your champions? I don't know, okay? But Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka, Nia Jax and who's her partner? Shayna Baszler have a concierge, a guy who comes out with them named Reginald. And
I like that.
And Shayna Baszler keeps saying that he's getting in the way, and that's why they keep losing and they lost their belts, blah, blah, blah.
The only way I would like Reginald, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like if you have Natty, who's the daughter of Neidhart, and you had Tamina, who's the daughter of Snuka, Reginald needs to be the son of Virgil, and he comes out and he's the servant for those two.
And so anyway, they're blaming Reginald for losing. At least Shayna Baszler is. Nia Jax likes him or whatever. He, of course, comes out and messes up the match for them again. Shayna Baszler threatens him, challenges to a match next week, and Raw goes off the air.
Ooh, we're leaving them with what they want. There you go.
That's how Raw goes off the air. I don't even have anything to say anymore.
That one's your own fault.
I know. That's the worst part. Royal Rumble 93 next week. Don't forget it. Justin, where can people find you? What do you want to plug? All that kind of stuff. You probably don't want people to find you. And also, what's making you bitter this week?
You can find us just at cucomedy.com. It has all of our upcoming shows, everything listed that we're going to be doing. We have a pretty big lineup coming up throughout the summer. So if you're any of you Chicago guys, head down south and you're looking for something to do, all of our shows are posted on there. Social media, blah, 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 all that stuff. My bitter for the week, and I remember very early on in the podcast, Dan stating, like, I am the prime audience for this podcast because I am the bitter Mark. And I told Sasha it wasn't finding a bitter, it was limiting it down to just one. My bitter is really just the current state of professional wrestling. How can I resist? I'm their prime audience. I'm a former fan. I'm a middle-aged guy who has nothing really going on. It would be very easy to get me to watch, and they can't even do that. So just put Walter on every show, and you got a new fan.
Producer Tony, what's making you bitter this week?
It was the last week's A&E biography of the Ultimate Warrior. I think they mentioned how much of a bigot and a homophobe he was for like 10 seconds. And I feel like they probably should have spent a little bit more time on that part of his life. They kind of glossed over that one. Yeah, fuck you, Ultimate Warrior. Your wife's a weirdo. Your daughters are pretty hot, though. But the best part was that Steve Blackman wasn't in the episode.
Oh, I missed it.
And Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
I'm hitting all sorts of stuff. There it is. We got there. Technology. I talked about it before. Not this. This obviously is a ongoing bitter. But I realized in talking to as many promoters as I'm talking to now, we're trying to get booked on different shows. They're all asking for different references. They're all asking, we're interested. We'd love to have you come out, but do you have anything that can show us that you can work? Do you have any, like a sample of your work? I have nothing. I have a picture of me in between long time being held by Kamala and about to be hit by Sherry. I have the videos from camp. I have videos from random videos on YouTube of 2009 that I don't want to send to everybody because they are videos from 2009 and the quality is terrible. I have no access to any sort of technology that's going to allow people to. Apparently, that's how you get booked now. You send people videos on YouTube. You send them links, and I have nothing. So I'm possibly going to be recording the shows this weekend and using that to get future bookings. But for the time being, right now, I'm just angry at technology.
That Kamala picture should be all you need, dude. That picture is the best thing I've
Get
ever
it as
seen.
an 8x10 and just hand it to guys at the door.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. New episodes drop every Friday morning at bittermarks.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarkscom. That's COM, as in mist. Drink the mist. Peewee, producer Tony, dear friend Justin Tuttle, and all the smooth babies in the YouTube chat. See you guys next week.
Weak ass Persian clubs.
Bye.